Hey, true believers. Chris Mac coming at you with Wolverine number 7. So, you remember when this series started, how the first issue, it was like 2 different stories. We were talking about Wolverine trying to track down all the petals that people were stealing and whatnot. And then on that backup, we had this kick-ass story about Wolverine going and hunting down Dracula and the vampires and meeting that vampire hunter, which I can't remember her name off the top of my head. And I believe it was Victor Bogdanovich doing the artwork, and it was just awesome. And we're like, I can't wait for more. So, did a couple more issues. They finished up the Cartel line, and then we jumped sort of into the vampires, but kind of softly leaned into it. Wolverine gets out of Krakoa because he's tired of all the politics and the crud going on there. And then we go out into the Canadian wilderness, and he gets trapped in ice. And it felt like a Wolverine story because we're like, oh man, what's going to happen to Logan? Because that's how his stories used to be. He'd be going along, and he'd fall into some stuff, and he'd have to fight it. And Benjamin Percy was nailing it. And then Marvel stepped in. Hey, buddy, we need to do an event. We need to do X of Swords. So the last Wolverine issue, not last issue, but the one before that, we were left with the cliffhanger of Dracula. What's going on with the Vampire Nation? How's Wolverine going to fight this? Now we got to do X of Swords. Another event. So let's get through this farted out issue. And I hate to say it, and I try not to be negative or vulgar to a degree, but Wolverine says it best in this book twice. And it echoes what this book is for me. This is beyond bullshit. Twice. And it very much is aching of what this X of Swords is for me. So let's get through this. Eliana does a fight, and you think we're going to get an awesome sword fight, and it turns into an arm wrestling match, and we get points. Yay. Okay, issue 7, Benjamin Percy and Gerry Duggan doing writing. Joshua Cassara doing art. Guru-eFX doing colors. VC's Cory Petit doing the lettering. Here's everyone else. X-Men created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Wolverine was created by Len Wein. Now, one thing I will say is the artwork's beautiful. I mean, that's cool. This is something that you'd want to read in like a modern Thor comic. Just very, very gorgeous. And the fight, even though we're out of what we wanted to see, the sword fight's really cool. Very flapping brutal. Ignore all the 9-mile paragraphs. And so yeah. And then the only semi-decent part of this book is Logan and Storm are supposed to do a drinking match, which is what their fight is or whatever. And kind of get a cool moment, because I mean, over the years, we've seen from the X-Men the animated series to alternate timelines, we've seen Storm and Wolverine be a couple. And I hate to say it, but the Jean and Grey thing has been played out. I would really like to see these two start a relationship, because they've been teammates for, when Claremont took over the book, what was that, 1973, 1974, or something like that? But these two have fought in countless battles together, have had each other's backs since day one. And, there's been glimpses of passion between them. And I could see Aurora and Wolverine being a couple. And that would make me happy. And that'd be a very cool way to shake up the status quo instead of this pining over Jean. I kind of feel like the pining over Jean should have stopped after the Dark Phoenix saga when she died. That's just me though. But we're gonna move on. And there's more fight and deception, and that's X of Swords. No real cohesive story. Just fight with the fight, which that's cool. But let me kind of reiterate something that Stan Lee said in an episode of Comic Book Men. He was talking about his inspiration to make the Fantastic Four. And he didn't go into super detail, but he was talking about, at the time, his publishers were saying, just write action stories. And he goes, okay, well, what about a plot? Oh, we don't need a plot, just action. And so he told his wife that he was ready to quit because there was no substance to it. It was just, farting out quantity over quality. And so, he was talking about how he wanted to write this story. And so his wife said, okay, how about this? You want to quit, so why don't you go in there, write your own story, and see what happens. Because if they fire you, you want to quit anyway. And that's how the Fantastic Four got on the market, because that book went out, sold like hotcakes, and it's still a household name. And I was making a point with that, and now I don't remember where I was going with it. Oh, so fighting. Yes, fighting's cool. This subversion of expectations here was kind of a fart, because I was really hoping to see Illyana just tear into this guy, because that's who Magic is. She's the Dark Child. We want to see Illyana get into a big sword fight and, call upon Limbo, and see her and Kitty stand side by side with freaking Lockheed. And we have the build-up. I mean, they're saying you're going in the upside down, and I like how they inverted the panel. So you're hoping for something epic. Nope. Boom, 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 over. And then another fight, boom, 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 over. So, yes, the fighting's cool, the action's cool, but there's no depth. About the amount of depth that we got, and I really focused on, was how him and Storm are sitting there supposed to be having this drinking battle, and they really start ripping into one another. And she even says, "Stop it, you dirty old flirt." And it started to feel like the X-Men, and then boom, we're back to X of Swords. That, I hate to say it, but that's the sum of my review here. Now, I could be wrong. I'm not reading the rest of them, and I refuse to. I'm sorry. Just this modern Dawn of X stuff. I'm thinking I'm dipping out on Wolverine until we get back into him being solo in his own book, because that was kicking butt. But this X of Swords stuff, I don't care. I'm so done with events I could scream. So with that said, I'm sorry for those of you that are enjoying it. I'm not trying to say don't read it. This is just my opinion on it. And if I'm wrong, feel free to let me know. I always love hearing other people's thoughts, because you never know. Maybe I'm missing something. Let me know. So if you have enjoyed this comic, please first and foremost support your local comic shop and pick up a copy. If you've enjoyed this review, which I know it wasn't that positive, but just giving my thoughts. If you have enjoyed it, we really would appreciate if you take a moment to hit like, share, and subscribe. It helps the club channel more than you can possibly know. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that fancy little adamantium bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys will get notified. Come to the channel. And as I just said, we love hearing your thoughts and feedback and just talking with y'all down in the comments below, or our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, thank you so much for stopping by. Hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.